Okay, we're back. Since we last taped, I've done a few things. Excuse me. I've put on the valve covers, the one cover and the one valve with the breather dome on top. I've connected, or I've torqued the back end. I put the stator on at the back, and I used purple Loctite, and it was hand tightened. I put the fuel pump on, and that was blue Loctite. They're 1/4 inch screws, and they were torqued to 40 inch-pounds, and that's per spec. What we're going to do now is set the points. So I've got the flywheel on, torqued, and ready to go as well. And this setup I've seen on other YouTube videos. I really like it. It's very accurate, and I recommend it for anybody doing a Kohler engine that has points. It works really well, and it rivals using a timing light, because effectively it is the same as a timing light in the way the electrical current opens. So let's get to it. On this engine I have a pin, not the easiest to see, but it's right at the end of this point, and that pin's coming out from the cylinder. The only thing I need to do is make sure it's straight and not bent in. Well, actually, not bent up or down is more critical, right? And on the flywheel, since I painted it black, I've got my, over here there's an S. S is 20 degrees before top dead center, I believe. And there's the T right there. So I'm going to move it back to before the S. So I just put my points on from the last build. I checked it and it was spot on. Nothing changed. It was perfect. But I'm going to go through the explanation. So the multimeter is used, and we want to set it on ohms, or you can use the beep. My little beeper is not too loud, so I'm going to set it on ohms so you can actually see the readout. And we'll turn the light on. Then you position the flywheel maybe 15-20 degrees before top dead center. Oh, sorry, before the alignment mark. And then what you do is you want to bring that so it's perfectly in line with that pin. So you're going to do yourself a line of sight, and you're going to look through the pin till it lines up with that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to your points. The hookup is, again, if I didn't say it, it's one lead to your engine ground and the other lead to the spring of your points. So it's on the portion that opens and closes the points. So once you brought that to that condition, in this case the pin aligned with the S, you loosen your adjustment screw on the points and you pivot it back and forth. And what you're looking for in that pivot is a point where this meter goes from the open loop, in other words no continuity. You want to get it to a point, and I'm going to bring it to that point because that's where I'm at. You're going to bring it to a point. I go the right way? Yeah. You're going to bring it you're going to bring it before the two marks line up, and you'll get a continuity reading. And what you're looking for is, as you bring that down, right, you're looking for it, and you can tap it very gently with a plastic mallet. You're looking for that point where that ohm meter starts to open loop. There. Okay? Now I can knock it back just a hair, and it's showing some continuity. I'm getting some current flow. And I can knock it back a little bit, and it open loops. That is so close and so accurate. Look, it doesn't know what to do. It's spot on. What you want to make sure is that, they line up. So by setting that first, adjusting your points, tightening it down so that condition exists, right? You're spot on. Now, as an added bonus, I'll take this off. I'll turn that away. And I also have a laser level. So I can take the camera and I can show you the laser level, and I'll block out some of the light. And there you go. So what I've done is I've set the laser so it rides the center of that pin, and then of course it shoots across, and I know I'm right in line when that hash mark on the S is lit up from the pin to there. Perfect. Now that's going to end this segment, and the next segment will probably be the last before we fire this thing up. So in this one I've got to basically put the top end together. That'll be the exhaust manifolds, the intake manifold assembly, which already has the carburetor and everything on it. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then hook up a gas line, hook up some wiring, and test this puppy out. Thanks guys, talk to you soon. Hello everybody, we're back again. Governor that wasn't governing, where did it go? We found it, put it back together, and now we're getting ready to put the top on. So I've got everything buttoned up. Timing was the last thing I think we did. So we're going to put the top sections on now. As I said before, I'm going to assemble everything and then I'll do the torquing off camera. So the first thing we're going to do is put the breaker point cover on. There's a side grommet here, slot, that just fits right into, like so. Make sure I have a little bit of wire slack. I was smart enough to put the gasket on before. Why does that not fit? Wire down, there we go. That's better. Yeah, I put the gasket on before I hooked up the capacitor slash condenser. One bright move. So we'll put these in, and there's no Loctite on these. Speaking of Loctite, from the previous session I did on Loctite, one thing I don't think I mentioned, I will mention it now, is that if you're going to use Loctite, if in the rebuild specs or in any of the specs, largely motorcycles I think, but if they're recommending Loctite, the other thing that's very important, come on, don't go in crooked, is that you've got to do it right away, right? You can't put the Loctite on, put the bolts down, snug them, and then go for a beer. No. You apply the Loctite, you put your fasteners in, you go back and you torque them. Loctite will start to set immediately. 5-15 minutes, it's grabbed hold, and you don't want to be moving things around. So there's the condenser cap on. We'll put the exhaust on. Note to mention with the exhaust, I use, and I strongly, and everybody strongly recommends, anti-seize. You want to get these out in a few years for whatever the reason. If you don't use anti-seize and a gasket, you could be in a whole world of hurt. But with anti-seize, they come out like a dream. So use anti-seize on exhaust bolts, anything subject to high heat, and subsequently rust. Again, you don't have to use a lot. It'll work its way around the threads, and away you go. Yep, that one goes there, like so. Washer line up with the hole, please. like that. I think we're ready for the intake manifold. Yes, as an assembly or sub-assembly. So that just sits on there. I don't use anti-seize for that, but I always seem to forget the gaskets and have to come back and put them on. And like all Kohler gaskets, they seem to only go on one way. Like that. So I'll just snug these down just so it doesn't move around. That's all. Because the next thing we're going to do is put the governor on. You should be able to see it through there. Where's my gas line sticking out? Get over there. You're supposed to be over there. Okay, so Kohler says that to set the governor, you need to put it on the right way, like that. And smart idea to put the linkages in now, as opposed to later when you can't. There and there. Okay, and then in there. Like I was saying, Kohler says that the cross shaft should be turned fully clockwise. Yep, fully clockwise. You can feel it. And then the governor arm should be pushed all the way back, away from the carburetor. So all the way back, fully clockwise, and then we tighten her up. I believe they have a section on adjusting it. So this is the set. If I do have to, I'll refer back to that to see if they want you to make certain adjustments. And that should be that. Good. And geez, I'm running out of parts. Okay, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'll torque everything down. I'll put the muffler on. Oh, sorry, I did unbox it. It looks great. A little rusty, but I couldn't wait. I wanted to see what it looked like. And I'll do the wiring. I'll get it ready to start. I'll put the starter on. That's just 2 bolts. I'll get it wired up so we can start it. And when we come back, all the fuel lines will be hooked up. And we'll be ready to fire this puppy up. Okay, thanks for watching. See ya.